Hey y'all, welcome back to Spirit of the Outdoors, another episode of Just in Time. Doing it in here under my shed today. It is raining. I've been trying to work on my back patio, our back porch, whatever you want to call it. And I have about got rained out of that. So late this evening, I wanted to sit down and do this. I try to never do these videos like thrown together or in a rush, just trying to get it done. This is one of the most important series that I do. I didn't realize that when I started doing them, but I've had a thought that has been across my mind. I have thought about doing a video on this or a talk on this for a while. So today I'm going to do it. I really don't know what else to say. I'm going to go to Matthew, I think it's chapter 4 and 19. I'm going to start reading at verse 18. It says, "And Jesus, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he saith unto them, Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And straightway they left their nets and followed him." And then it goes on to talk about two more, James and John, left their father and their nets, and they followed him as well. Jesus simply walked by, looked at some people and said, "Follow me. I'll teach you how to catch people." With that thought in mind, I want to talk to you today about fishers of men. In the gist of it, I want to talk to you about winning souls. You see, a lot of people think, well, I just need to invite people to church. The old timers around here used to firmly believe in knocking doors. Does this stuff work? Absolutely it works. But now, is it the most effective way? No. Now, you go around today beating on people's doors and inviting them to church, you might run across one or two that will come, quite possibly. Now, if I was going into a new city, new town, didn't know anybody, and I was starting a church, yes, that would be a very important thing to do. Be like, knock on the door, be like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I'm the new pastor here. I'm starting a church. I'm going to be preaching. I would love for you to come." That's one thing. But in a community where you have had a church established for hundreds of years, you're a part of that church, and you go around beating on people's doors, you're going to run more people in the opposite direction than you're going to reach. Now, on the flip side of that coin, when you encounter people in your day-to-day life, you should invite them to church. If you've never invited them. I don't believe in begging people to come to church. So what I want to talk to you about is fishing. I know a little something about fishing. I know a little something about trying to win souls, because I've been on both sides of the coin. So when I go fishing, I don't go down to a body of water and take a hook and just throw a bare hook into the water and sit there and wait and think, well, I'm going to catch a fish. And James and John, Peter and Paul, all these guys today, Andrew, they dropped a net and they trolled along and they pulled the net up and thought, there's fish or there's no fish. There was a little more method to it than that. If you go back and do some in-depth research, they knew what time of day to be on the water. They knew where those fish were going to be. They read that water. They understood that there's fish in this area at this time, and they're here at this time, and this is a certain area, or this certain temperature, or this weather pattern. There's a lot that goes into it. The moon position. Everything comes into play on where those fish are and how collected they are to provide you with the best opportunity. It's the same way when I go down here and decide I'm going to go fishing. I don't just randomly say, I got time, I'm going to go fishing. Occasionally I do that. I'm not really trying to see how many fish I can catch at that point. I just want to be out. But if I'm wanting to catch supper, I need to catch a meal, I'm going to think, okay, where are those fish at? Are those fish going to be biting today? Is that weather pattern just right? Is everything into play just right? Where are those fish at today? What are they feeding on? What are they biting today? Is there a certain thing hatching out that would give me a better bait? The color of, like if I'm crappie fishing, gloomy, dark days, I want bright colored baits. Sun's bright, shining down through that clear water. And we don't have a lot of clear water here. There's areas that do have clear water. Certain lakes have clear water. But anyway, I'm going to go to a more natural color on a bright sunny day. These are things that you need to know. There's more to fishing and catching fish than just, well, I'm going to a body of water and throwing a hook out there. You got to know a little bit about what you're doing if you want to be successful. You got to know what baits work the best. A lot of this comes with trial and error, practicing, doing it, going and failing and saying, well, that didn't work. Same way with trying to win souls. As Jesus taught these people over the course of years and years, 3.5 years that he walked, he taught them how to win souls. He showed them how to win souls. I think the number one thing that Jesus did was he was consistent. He was faithful. He was there. What he done worked. He provided people with answers to problems. They were hungry, he fed them. They needed something, he helped them. Churches today seem to fail at this. Jesus said, preach the gospel to the poor, feed the hungry, clothe the naked. There's a lot in that we're missing. I know, and I relate to a lot of my personal experience, okay? I don't know about every church out there. Your church may be an exception to the rules. You may be a part of a church that is an exception to the rules, that's doing everything just right. I congratulate you on that. I applaud you. Does the methods I'm going to talk about, are they going to work everywhere? You know, every city is a little different. Every group of people is different. Every culture is a little different. All that comes into play. That's why he told Paul them, and he said, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. I think it was Peter he told that to. Anyway, one of the disciples, he said, when in Rome, do as the Romans. In other words, you've got to fit in and be among this people. You've got to be accepted. You've got to be like them. You can't go into a little country church full of country people, hard-working people, and have an arrogant Bible school mentality, business, leisure suit, dressed to a T, and talk with a effeminate gait till you walk, and expect to impress them. When your hands are soft, you're not going to go into a hard-working community and impress those people and them want what you have. You've got to go be among them. You've got to provide what is there. Then when you start reaching souls, you've got to have something they want. You've got to know a little bit about people. The number one thing is when there's a need among a people, there's people hurting, there's families that have lost loved ones, there's families that's got people sick in the hospital. Just because they don't attend your church, that is the prime opportunity for you to show up and say, we're praying for you. Do you need anything? As a church, can we help you? I watch churches as today collect money from poor, hard-working people. Send it overseas. Send it to other places. I have no problem with helping those people over there. I want to be clear there. I have no problem with helping people anywhere in the world. Help everybody you can help, okay? But you take a people's money, it's paying tithes, and you send it overseas somewhere, or you send it off out of their eyesight somewhere, and you drive by their family members that's hurting and don't offer to help them. Drive by their relatives and their friends that are hurting, that need help, and refuse to help them. It's not going to be long and your church is going to dry up. Because those people's not going to come to your church. People relate to when you help me with a need, that's real. When I was an alcoholic, somebody coming by and said, oh, you need to get right with God and you need to come to church, pushed me in the opposite direction. Because I knew what was right. But there was an old pastor, a retired pastor in this neighborhood. I just encountered him one day in day-to-day life and a business. He looked at me and he said, I'm praying for you. He said, I love you, I'm praying for you. He didn't try to correct me. He didn't try to tell me what I needed to do. He just let me know he cared. If you'll love people, you can win people. But if you don't love them, and you don't try to help them, you're not going to win. When they look at you and they can relate to you, there's something between you and those people that they like you, they relate to you, you one of them. I didn't say you went and drank beer with them on the weekends. I didn't say you listened to their filthy jokes. I didn't say that you had to, do some of the things they do. But you can't walk by them acting like you're too good for them, that they're too bad for you to be around, and expect to win them. It just don't work that way. To be fishers of men, you got to know what you're doing. There's got to be some method to what you're doing. Number one, you got to be filled with this Spirit and let that Spirit lead you. You got to know a little bit about what's in this Word, and you got to be true to it. The next thing is you got to find people that are hungry. You're not going to help people that think they're already saved. I'm never going to argue with people over Scripture. I'm not going to try to change somebody's mind on their made-up opinion. Now, if they come ask me, hey, what do you think? And they're open to hungry and wanting to learn, I'll help guide them. But when somebody comes at me, well, you said this wrong. I don't believe it like that. I think okay, well, that's fine with you. You believe what you want to believe if your mind's made up. Just make sure that you're right. Because you get one shot at this. This is not I like this and I get this is what's comfortable for me and easy and I like that, or this is what the majority of people do. No, I read what this Word says and I shape my life to fit this Word. I don't try to shape this Word to fit me. So there's things in there that's uncomfortable to me, but I still believe it because it's in here. And you've got to be grounded in that. The next thing is you've got to live what you believe. You can't go to church on Sunday and line up with this and dress one way on Sunday and act one way on Sunday and talk one way on Sunday. And then about Thursday afternoon after work, you got a whole different attitude and mentality. The next thing is you can't be spiteful and hateful at people and expect them to want what you've got. You got to learn how to turn the other cheek. You got to learn how to be humble. You got to learn how to forgive. You've got to apply these things to your life before you're going to win souls. It don't matter how right you are in your theology and your methodology. If they look at you and say, I don't want to be like him. No, you got to be different. This has got to be real in your life for you to be able to win souls. Find people that are hungry. Find the ones that are hurting. I have watched through this YouTube channel. I've had all the experiences they are, I guess. There's probably something that'll happen pretty quick that I hadn't expected, but I've had a lot of experiences. Let's put it like that. I've had the people that come to me, you wrong here. That ain't what I believe. We don't agree on that. Yada. Okay, it's fine. Don't matter to me. The only one that matters to me is him. He's the only one that matters. But then I have had people that's come to me and said, you beat alcohol. God delivered you from alcohol and I'm struggling with it. Pray for me. And I've prayed for them. And some of them I have watched God work in their lives. Some of you that are still watching this have reached out to me and said, you ain't gonna believe what God has done. God's helping me. I changed overnight. The difference was with me is I knew what was in here already. I was already called to preach and knew what I should have been doing to begin with. That's why God changed my life like that. Because I knew what was right and wrong. I knew what I ought to have been doing. He just reached down and cleansed me and delivered me. Some of you, this is new to you. It's not going to happen overnight. Your life's not going to become perfect the next day. But if you listen to me, I'll show you the way. I'll show you something in here that's real. It's not a, hey, just go to church and try to be a good person. That don't work, y'all. This word has power in it. There's messages in here that have delivering power. Those addictions that you fight, they'll take them away. You won't struggle with that no more. The big thing is with a lot of people with addiction is they don't really want to quit. They just know they need to, and that's why they struggle with it. But when you get sick of something and you make your mind up, you know what, I'm tired of what this is doing to my life. I'm tired of living life like this. God will deliver you from that. When you give it to Him and say, God, whatever it takes for me to be saved, I want to be saved. I don't come at people and argue about whether there's one God or three gods or the separation of the Godhead and 3 in 1 and all that stuff. I'm not going to argue with you about that. I'm not going to argue with you about the plan of salvation or what the method is, exactly what's got to be said and what's got to be done and exactly what fits where. It's not about that to me. I'm not going to argue with you over that. I know what I believe, and if somebody wants to know, I can tell them. But what I'm looking for is while these people coming at me trying to argue about, hey, this ain't right, you ain't right here, I don't believe that, I don't believe this is right. I'm reaching over here to somebody to say, I'm just tired of dealing with alcohol. My home is broken, and my wife left me, or my husband has left me, or somebody in my family has passed away, or whatever's going on. I'm struggling with this addiction, and I'm tired of living like this. Come on, I'll show you a better way. I'll show you how to be saved. I'll show you how to find Jesus real in your life. Not just a made-up man's religion. I'll show you how to find something that'll feed your soul. And I find those, and I'm reaching for them. Those are the ones I'm after. It's not about trying to impress people with how well my sermons are put together, how good my theology is. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to get names wrong in the Bible. I'm going to not know what animal was clean and unclean. There's some little things that's not really that big a deal. They're important. I'm not saying they're not important. They wouldn't be in here if they wasn't important. But they're not the main thing. The main thing is you feed the hungry. You clothe the naked. And you preach the gospel to the poor. You find those that need Jesus Christ, that are looking for something, that's trying to fill an empty place inside of them, and they've tried every relationship, they've tried every drug, they've tried every alcohol, they've tried every form of excitement and adrenaline rush, and nothing has fixed that for them. That hole inside of you can only be filled with Jesus Christ and His Spirit. When you're filled with that Spirit, that peace and that joy will come, and it don't matter what you get involved in or what you do, you're going to find peace within yourself. It's not going to take alcohol to make you happy. You want to win souls? Be real. Find those that are hungry. Find those that are hurting. Know what you believe. Have something real to share with them. They're not going to come to your church if it's dead. If they do, they're going to come one time and they're going to go, this ain't no different than anything else. Because it really ain't. If your church is dead, you're going to struggle to win souls. Because you got to have something real to offer. Can you get it on your own? Absolutely. Can you get it off in the middle of nowhere? Absolutely. I got it sitting right in here in the shed right by myself. But I knew what I was looking for. I knew what I wanted. I knew what was real. And I sat down and I had a real conversation with God. I talked to him like he was sitting right there with me. And he filled me with something real. It's not just a, hey, I went through this protocol or this ritual to be saved. That's not good enough for most people today. That's not good enough for the one addicted to crystal meth. That's not good enough for the man addicted to alcohol. When he quotes a prayer and it don't really change nothing in his life, that ain't gonna get it. When he fills you with your spirit till it's running out of your mouth in a language that you've never learned, and your attitude has changed and your joy is just running out of you and you want to love everybody and you don't know why. That's something that's real. When all of a sudden that addiction that I was in love with ain't there no more and I don't even want it no more, that's real. Want to be a fisher of men? Have something real to offer. Try to help those around you. Find somebody that's hurting and you help them, you can make a difference in their life. I love all of you. I'm praying for you. I want you to be able to take what God has given you, share it with other people. Your testimony, your personal experience that you have had is the most powerful thing you've got. That is your number one thing. Don't get tired. I've heard, you've told everybody about being addicted to alcohol. I'm tired of hearing it. You may be, but there's one person out there somewhere that ain't heard it yet, and I'm going to tell them because that's what's going to make a difference. They might be struggling with what I'm struggling with. Your testimony is your most powerful thing. That's what you're going to use to win people. They got to like you. They got to want what you have. What you've got has got to be real. It can't be something that you put on for a show. People see through that like they do a glass. You can't hide it from God. You can't hide it from people. You got to be what you say you are. I love y'all. I'm praying for you. God bless all of you. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you'll do a little better today than you did yesterday, tomorrow will be a better day. God bless you. We'll see you next time.